Hello and welcome to PlayStation Grenade. 3 months ago, I made contact with Scuf, the manufacturers behind the controllers used by so many pro PS4 and Xbox One players. My task was simple. I wanted to know if their controllers could make me a better player at Fortnite. I watched countless reviews of Scuf controllers online and either found the reviewer slating the product without explaining the issues, or worse still, the reviewer was partnered with Scuf, leading me to distrust them even though they were endorsing a product they believed in wholeheartedly. Scuf kindly sent an impact controller in bright pink because I have an unhealthy obsession with that colour, but more importantly, they have given me free rein in my review and not attempted to contact me during the review process. So please let me state once and for all, I am not sponsored by Scuf, all opinions are my own. So after 3 months of use, the plan is to go through the great things that Scuf Impact controllers offer, but also a few issues I've encountered. So with that out of the way, let's do this. The first thing we need to do is understand why Scuf controllers are used by professional gamers. It comes down to one important feature, the ability to keep both thumbs on the sticks at all times. Sounds simple, I know, but this small fact is what gives a gamer a huge advantage on the battlefield. Let's break it down. On the back of the Scuf controller are these paddles, which act in the same way as face buttons. So on the PS4, that's the X, square, circle and triangle buttons, which can be accessed from underneath the controller. Depending on the size of your hands, your natural grip will see your middle finger or ring finger rest perfectly on the plastic buttons. Let's take a typical shotgun fight in Battle Royale. Most of the time, we all jump around like headless chickens. Jumping helps in 2 ways. It makes us a harder target, and if we manage to get the higher ground, it makes headshots easier. Here's the issue to jump with a standard controller. You'd need to take your thumb off the right stick to press jump. Not only does it slow us down, it also makes aiming the shotgun impossible whilst jumping. Unless you use the claw technique, but that is extremely uncomfortable for the majority of gamers. So by having a button underneath the pad, we can jump and aim simultaneously, giving us a huge advantage in gunfights. Some would say it's unfair, and I kind of agree, it's a little OP to say the least. Depending on the model of Scuf we look at, there'll be 2 or 4 paddles to use. For context, the Infinity natively has X and circle mapped on the rear, whereas the Impact has triangle and square too. Here's where things in Fortnite can be made ridiculously easy with a Scuf controller. On a standard controller, building a 1x1 can take a great deal of toll on your right thumb, as switching to build mode and jumping and aiming with precision is difficult to master, whereas on the Impact, all 3 of those buttons are immediately accessed by different fingers. Jump is controlled by your middle finger on the left hand, build mode is controlled by the middle finger on the right hand, and aiming remains safely under your right thumb. This change may only save 1/10 of a second each time, but this time adds up, especially in build battles, and the freedom to instantly switch weapons, jump and aim is frankly awesome. When buying a Scuf, it's also possible to purchase a remapping tool just in case you want to customize your experience. Sadly, that does cost a little more, but we'll get to that very soon. Oh, another quick note, it isn't possible to map combinations or macros to the paddles. I had hoped to map the perfect 3-tile high 1x1 tower for clutch build-offs. Alas, it's not possible at present, but imagine that, complex movements in a single button press. Yeah, if we break it down like that, that probably is too far. That would be a little too close to cheating. Surprisingly, the greatest thing I found on the Scuf Impact was not the under paddles, but instead the hair trigger option. Depending on the game, R2 or the right bumper, it's almost always the gun trigger. It was even reshaped to feel more akin to a real gun trigger. The time it takes to push down completely can cause a missed shot or two. The Impact offers a hair trigger option to minimize the button depth. With this small adjustment, it's possible to create a shallower button press, making shots that millisecond quicker in battle. This function improved my sniping hugely in Fortnite, and I found switching back to a standard controller I really missed this option. Another great addition to the Scuf controllers are the options of thumbsticks. Because Scuf offer custom modular elements to each controller, from colour to length of the bumper buttons, it's easy to overlook the thumbsticks. Without a doubt, the thumbsticks make a difference. They can be domed like the PS3 pads, they can be concave like PS4 pads, they can be made longer, they can be coloured differently, but it's the material which I was most impressed with. I'm not a scientist, so I can't really break it down, but the thumbsticks use a type of rubber which clings to your thumb. When in a build battle with sweaty palms and sweaty fingers and thumbs, the rubberized thumbsticks prevent any slipping from my grip. There's even an option on the Impact to give the controller additional grip. I personally didn't get that option, but I can definitely see the appeal. So we've outlined the great elements that make a Scuf controller the preferred option by most pro console players, but all that customization and modulation is also an area to be concerned with. The Scuf Impact starts off costing more than twice the amount of a standard controller. The cost balloons further with every option you add on. I priced up the controller Scuf sent to me and it would have cost £200 after tax. Instead of translating that into your currency, I'll convert the currency instead. This one bloody good pad is the same price as 4 standard controllers. To put that bluntly, the only way to look at this is to see a Scuf controller as an investment. We can change the way we look at Scuf controllers again by isolating each part. For example, when the paddles wear away, it's possible to purchase more on the store. It's modular, remember, so we can take off any part we like and replace it with newer pieces. I noticed in most reviews that are against Scuf controllers, they are usually due to a device not working as intended. I can completely understand where this opinion comes from, as when my controller arrived, the right thumbstick kept sticking. My first reaction would have been more furious if I had spent the money myself, but as this was a review model, I saw this as an opportunity. I have to admit it was not pleasant using tech support, but once I found a real human being, things moved much more quickly. Sending the controller back though would have seen it gone for several weeks. As that wasn't an option for me, I decided to take off the thumbsticks to troubleshoot the problem. And when I reassembled the controller by switching the sticks around, somehow the issue was gone. It just wasn't there anymore and it worked perfectly. To some, that will sound absolutely worrying, whereas others will just see that as a good thing. I'm not sure how I feel about it, but wanted to make sure you had all the information just in case you are thinking about making this choice. Another issue I discovered was a slight delay or unresponsive button presses on the back paddles. Once again, this could have broken me, it could have sent me into a mad rage, and I could have been one of those people you see on YouTube completely slating the product. But that said, it was unbelievably easy to fix. The back paddles were dirty and needed to be cleaned, so I got out a cotton bud or a Q-tip, and in a couple of swipes, it was clean again. That took me 10 hours to figure out, by the way. Before we recap everything, let's look at form factor. The current models on the market are the Impact and the Infinity. In retrospect, I should have chosen the Infinity as my hands fit better around the original PS4 controller. After using a friend's Infinity, I quickly realised that was the better option for me in terms of comfort. Saying that, the additional paddles on the Impact are excellent, and if you were or are an Xbox player, this updated form factor will feel most comfortable to you. Either way, keep in mind how many hours you'll need to put in to acquire the muscle memory to use these to the fullest. Anything from 60 to 600 hours. So it's an investment in money and it's an investment in time. In conclusion, the awesome hair trigger system, the brilliant under paddles, the slightly sticky thumbsticks for grips, the custom colours, the modular system are all fantastic reasons to buy a Scuf Impact controller. But on the other hand, the slightly cheap plastic feel, the potential issue of one of the parts arriving untested, and of course the high price tag are issues I think you should be aware of. And although this was a review of the Scuf Impact, we started with an original question. Can a Scuf controller make you better at Fortnite? Quick building? Yes. Quick shooting? Yes. Improved aim and jumping? Yes. Without a doubt, yes, a Scuf controller can make you better at Fortnite. Hopefully that will show you both sides of the argument and put you in better stead to make a decision on a Pro controller. There are other Pro controllers on the market, and if I get my hands on any of those, I will compare and contrast as many as I can. But as Scuf were the only company kind enough to send me one of their review models, I wanted to also show you the future of their products. This is the Scuf Vantage, offering improved precision and control. Much more comfortable to hold, I'm told, offset thumbsticks like an Xbox controller, and all the customization Scuf is renowned for. I'll do my best to get my hands on this beast, and if I do, I'll be back with an objective review later in the year. I'm Adam from PlayStation Grenade. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'll see you next time.